In one of my earlier videos, I talk about how I get anxious before a big presentation or at the start of a swim of a triathlon race because of my fear of deep open water. And if I were to tell myself to just relax and be calm, it doesn't work because it goes against that natural state when we're highly stressed and high strung. And so instead I've got to replace those negative thoughts and worries with something else. And that often is much more tactical. So for example, at the start of a swim, I've got to worry about this is how I enter, my arm position, my breathing, my head, my kicking rhythm, instead of worrying about the kilometers ahead that I've got to swim. Likewise, with a big presentation, I avoid worrying about the implications of the presentation, the audience. Instead, here's my mental checklist of 5 things I need to do to get prepared, and I focus on the opening statement, because if I can get that opening statement right, the rest of the presentation will flow much more naturally. So today I want to share something that's getting a lot more research attention, which is procrastination. Now, procrastination is when we deliberately avoid doing some things, even when we know that if we could complete those tasks, that would be very good for us. Now, a lot of people look at procrastination as if it were a time management problem, that somehow if we could better manage our time with a better process, better system, checklist, we would be able to avoid procrastination. However, research is now showing that procrastination is an emotional issue, very much like anxiety. So when we feel anxious, we have some fears about something, and our brains tell us to avoid those sources of fears. And so with procrastination, if you get your to-do list done, it should make you happier, less stressed, more content. But instead we don't. Trying to plan and rationalize the solution will not work because it's an emotional barrier, not a logical barrier. Instead of logically focusing on the upside of completing a task, our emotional brain focuses on why doing that task itself is unpleasant, and the emotional coping response is just to avoid that task. And there's a lot of research now that correlates procrastination to depression and anxiety. So how do we override this emotional response to procrastination? Well, similar to how we manage anxiety, we have to find a way to give that monkey in our head something else to do instead of the chatter of negative thoughts and emotions. We can't use willpower and determination to just tell it to shut off and calm down. And so, for example, I use certain songs as a cue to take action. There are grounding techniques that we can use where we engage our 5 senses to focus on the present rather than worrying about the future state that causes that anxiety. And so a big part of it is just saying, I'm going to focus only on that first small initial tasks, whether it's just write that first sentence to the article that you have to do, or that first PowerPoint slide in a big presentation that's due, or maybe even just put on a pair of shoes instead of worrying about a whole workout that you have ahead of you. One small task, and celebrate small progress, celebrate achievement and forward momentum. So that's all for now. Too much procrastination, gotta get back to work. Bye.